Let's see what happens when Kathy ventures out on her own, what lessons she learns, and how things unfold. My name is Ted, and I'm a 52-year-old man living in New York. I recently went through a difficult divorce with my ex-wife, Kathy, who was 47 when we split. We had been married for 20 years and have a son, Ron, who is 19 now and studying in a different city. I run a small business and manage to earn a decent income. I first met Kathy about 25 years ago in a New York City bar. It was a chance encounter that happened on a Friday night. I was out with friends, enjoying some drinks, when I noticed Kathy across the room. She had an undeniable presence that immediately caught my attention, so I decided to approach her. We clicked instantly, spending hours talking that night. I was drawn to her sharp intelligence and quick wit. Kathy was a free spirit, full of energy and zest for life. Not long after that evening, we started dating, and our bond deepened with every passing day. A few years later, I proposed to Kathy in Central Park under the shade of a massive oak tree, and, of course, she said yes. We had a small, intimate wedding with our closest friends and family by our side. My business was thriving, and we lived comfortably in New York City, with Kathy enjoying a lifestyle that many only dreamed of. Most of Kathy's friends were married to wealthy men, living lives of luxury and leisure, benefiting from their husbands' financial success. A few years into their marriages, most of her friends were divorced and receiving hefty alimony payments. I always warned Kathy to stay away from these so-called friends. I never liked them, and I hated the days when I had to pick her up from their parties. Sometimes, I even noticed one of them trying to flirt with me, but I never said anything to Kathy. I just brushed it off. Kathy would always reassure me, saying her friends would never influence her love for me or our family. I trusted her, and life went on. Then came Kathy's 45th birthday. She decided to celebrate it with her friends, while I wanted to spend the day with her. She insisted that one of her friends was leaving town and wanted to meet up. I let her go, spending the evening alone with a bottle of Jack Daniels. Kathy was very active on social media, especially Instagram and TikTok, where she posted daily updates. Her birthday celebration was no different. She shared it live on her account. What I saw next disgusted me. Her friends brought out a cake with a male organ on top, designed to look like it had just sprouted some white cream. Kathy took a bite, then cut the cake while her friends cheered and danced. I also saw that her group visited a male strip club. When Kathy came home, I confronted her. I told her her behavior was inappropriate, cheap, and disrespectful, especially considering we had a 19-year-old son who could see everything on social media. I also questioned her about the strip club visit. She told me it was a surprise from her friends. I told her that the surprise ended the moment she crossed the door of that place. Entering such a place was a choice she made, and I was upset. I told her I wasn't happy with what had happened and reminded her that her friends were all single and her actions were not those of a married woman. She broke down in tears, and I left her to be alone. I didn't sleep in our bedroom that night. The next morning, she didn't speak to me, and after leaving for her gym, I went to the office. Things had changed between us, and I had a feeling they were only going to get worse in the coming weeks. I asked Kathy if she was holding a grudge against me for what happened on her birthday. Her response caught me off guard. She claimed that I had overreacted because I was jealous. According to her, I didn't have friends and would never experience such incredible parties in my life. I was stunned. How could someone be so naive? I don't go to strip clubs because I respect my marriage, and I certainly don't bite into obscene cakes because I find it disgusting. Frustrated, I ended the conversation and headed to the office. Things between us didn't improve much, but we were at least speaking again. Kathy became even more active on TikTok, and her daily vlog started gaining traction. I chose to stop paying attention to her online presence, focusing instead on my own life. When my birthday came around, I spent it with my son. Kathy was there too, but instead of being present with us, she was more engaged with her online followers. Ron was visibly irritated. At one point, he asked me, "What's wrong with Mom?" I shrugged and told him she had been bitten by the social media bug. We both laughed it off, but deep down, it wasn't funny. On our way home, I pulled over to the side of the highway and asked Kathy to step out of the car. I was furious, but we'll continue this story in the next part. I tried my best to keep my emotions in check. Instead of acknowledging the tension, she immediately started filming the scenery and sharing it online. That was the last straw. I grabbed her phone, stopped the live stream, and firmly told her that she needed to draw a line. When you're with family, be with family. If you can't do that, then walk away, but don't disrespect our time and emotions, I said. She stood there silently for a moment, then got back into the car without a word. She wasn't even willing to have a conversation about it. A year passed, and her birthday came around again. At midnight, I wished her and gifted her a beautiful gold bracelet encrusted with diamonds. She kissed me, but just minutes later, she got ready and left with her friends. I was beyond furious. When she returned home drunk, I confronted her. "Do I even matter to you anymore?" I asked, though I knew I wouldn't get a sensible answer from her in that state. The next morning, I brought up the idea of therapy. "I don't think our relationship will survive if this continues," I admitted. She barely acknowledged me, rushing through her juice before heading to the gym. That day, I skipped work because I needed to have this conversation. When she came back, she wasn't alone. Her friends were with her. Despite the awkwardness of the moment, I asked her to step into the bedroom so we could talk privately. I got straight to the point. "What do you want? Do you even care about this marriage anymore?" Kathy sat down, took a deep breath, and finally said it. She had been thinking about divorce for the past 2 years. According to her, she was at a stage in life where she wanted a fresh start. I was confused. "What do you mean?" I asked. She explained that she wanted to leave everything behind and start over, and her friends were supporting her decision. My patience snapped. "Your so-called friends are nothing but washed-up gold diggers clinging to rich men for money. They have no real lives, and all you see is the glitter they paint on their faces. Have you ever looked deeper? Underneath their smiles, they're lonely and miserable. If you want to walk away, then go ahead, but don't fool yourself. The world outside isn't all sunshine and roses. There are predators waiting to take advantage of women like you, and you'll learn the hard way." She screamed back. "So what? I won't come running to you for sympathy. I know exactly what I'm doing." The room fell into silence. There was nothing left to say, no more arguments, no more discussions. The next day, Kathy posted a video announcing that she had been planning her divorce for 2 years and was finally following through with it. "I'm just being honest. I don't know what to do next. I'm tired, really tired of trying to change so many things about my life. I'm scared, really scared, she admitted. Reality was setting in. The facade was beginning to crack, and fear was creeping in. The real world was knocking at her door, and it was about to hit hard. Then she started calling me over and over again. I answered the call, and she told me she just wanted to talk because she missed me. Taking one last shot, I asked if she was willing to reconsider her decision, since the divorce papers were set to be filed the next day. After that, there would be no going back. She didn't say a word and simply hung up. A few weeks later, our divorce was finalized. Kathy moved out without any farewells between us. My son took it hard, but admitted he had seen it coming. The day after the divorce, Kathy posted online, "I'm doing okay. A week ago, I couldn't see any light ahead, but as time passes, there are small glimmers, like tiny pinpricks in aluminum foil, just enough to know there's something on the other side, even if I can't see it yet. Even on my worst days, I go to bed knowing I'm getting closer to that light. One day I'll look back and say I didn't freeze. I moved forward. I'm capable. I can do this." Well, good luck poking holes in your foil, I thought. A few days later, she made another post. "Women are finally realizing we don't need men. We don't have to tolerate abuse, infidelity, or being treated as less than. We don't even need men to have children anymore. That doesn't mean I don't want a man in my life or that I think all men are bad. In fact, meet the new man in my life." She then introduced a young guy in his 20s, chiseled abs, perfect physique. It was clear where my money had gone. I just shook my head and left for work, knowing this wouldn't end well. Sure enough, the very next day she uploaded a tearful video announcing that she had broken up with her latest fling. I wasn't surprised. It had been obvious from the start that it wouldn't last. What did surprise me was how quickly it ended. A mutual friend. Later, a mutual friend told me that Kathy hadn't broken up with him. He had dumped her. Too embarrassed to admit it, she chose to spin the story in her favor. Not long after, she was spotted at a restaurant with yet another young guy. I happened to be there for a business meeting and left as soon as it was over. She didn't notice me, and honestly, I felt nothing. The sight of her with someone else no longer affected me. Then, a friend sent me a video titled, "4-4-Y and Naughty." It was Kathy, dancing in lingerie at what seemed to be a private house party. At one point, she even pulled her top off, while her so-called friends cheered her on. I blocked my friend right after. A few days later, I came across another TikTok video of Kathy posing in a bikini by a pool. "This is what 47 looks like," she declared proudly. It was a new low, even for her. She had also shared her Tinder profile. Out of curiosity, I clicked the link, only to find her nearly naked, barely covered by strategically placed scraps of fabric. Another post soon followed. This time, she was out with yet another young guy. The moment he realized he was being recorded, he quickly pulled his hoodie up to hide his face. That told me everything I needed to know. He was just there for a good time, and once he got what he wanted, he'd be gone. And just as I expected, a few days later, she uploaded yet another emotional video. "Did I make the right decision? I don't know. Did I mess up? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought. Today, I realized my marriage wasn't bad. It was fine. My husband loved me, and I ruined everything. I'm a mess. Ted warned me, but I didn't listen. I just want my old life back. I lost my husband. My friends aren't here anymore. I just want my family again. Well, well. Now that Chad and Ty had used and discarded her, she wanted to come back. Absolutely not. I don't take leftovers. Then, while I was at work, Kathy showed up. When I asked why she was there, she said she wanted to come home. I couldn't help but chuckle. Home? There is no home. I sold it and paid for your so-called Nirvana pad, remember? There's nothing left for you here. She then asked if she could stay with me. I already have company, I told her. A loyal Saint Bernard who sleeps in my bed. And he doesn't like strangers. I'm not a stranger, she argued. To him you are. And to me, you're nothing but a memory. I don't play the fool. I move on. My name is Will Smith, and you sure as hell aren't Jada. The moment my wife chooses something else over me, she's out. No second chances. Tears welled up in her eyes as she walked away. I went home to my dog. A few days later, I saw yet another one of her posts. This time, she was rambling about how disillusioned she was with the world. She admitted how hard it was for a woman her age to find love again. Yes, Kathy, you were warned. Life doesn't wait. A fruit is meant to be eaten when it's ripe. Leave it too long, and it rots. Nature gives us lessons, but we ignore them. She had everything, love, family, stability. But she wanted something else. Something no married woman should chase. And now, she was left with nothing. As for me, I don't need to search for love again. I'm in my 50s, and I see no point in starting over. My dog gives me all the loyalty and affection I need. Soon, I'll pass my business down to my son and let him take his rightful place. And me? I'll enjoy the peace I've earned. Maybe soak up some sunshine in the woods.